So, hey, congratulations on a lot of your recent projects.
Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, it's been a good time.
So tell us for some of us who will be watching this, who is Georgia Scarlet Waters?
Well, I guess a good place to start is I'm an English actress. I'm also I've started writing. My background is more in academia because I've got an English literature degree from the University of Oxford. So I love reading, storytelling, all those worlds to do with the imagination. So I guess that describes a little bit of who I am.
Did you start off in theater at Oxford?
I did, yes. So I guess growing up, Emma Thompson was a big inspiration of mine, and I saw that she did English at Cambridge, but then did the Drama Society, and that's what kind of paved her way. And I went to Oxford, but it was very much with the idea of Emma's career path of like, I'll do the Drama Society. So I got to do loads of theatre productions there at the Oxford Playhouse, which was really special. And then also a few Shakespeare that was in Christchurch Gardens, which was a very Oxford experience. And yeah, that's where I was scouted by my agent.
So when did you make the transition to like film and television yourself? What was it immediately after college?
Yeah. So the main stuff that I was auditioning for was film and television. And I did have a background in modeling. So I've been modeling since I was 15. So I was comfortable in front of the camera. I'd got a lot of experience doing like commercials and short films. So it wasn't an alien world to me. And then when I had my agent, that was most of the stuff that I was auditioning for. Traditionally, I would say in London, to be doing theatre, you need to go to drama school. It might have changed now, but when I was graduating, that was very much the thing. But I was very eager to just get started. A lot of people then go off and do another 3 years at drama school, but I was ready to be let loose in the world.
Do you miss the theater?
I do, actually. I was looking back at some photos for another interview, and I was like, oh gosh, that it was such a special time, that feeling of collaboration and then the adrenaline of being on stage, and you never know quite what's going to happen. You obviously rehearse it as much as possible, and you know all the beats, you know what the lines are going to be, but you're never quite sure what the energy will be. So and then so much of that depends on the audience as well, and you can definitely sense the atmosphere in the room, and I think as an actor you feed off that as well. So yeah, one day I'd love to go back into theatre, because it is something so unique, and London's a great place for theatre. The stuff that they get there is fantastic.
That's quite excellent. So when you started off back into a filming career, you started off small, like a lot of people's careers, and with short films and indies.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of that, an episode here and there. I was very much trying to build my reel like every other actor. So that comes with its challenges when you just want to, you're auditioning for the bigger stuff, but you don't have the resume to be able to necessarily land those roles. So but it's a great experience, and there'll be a lot of other young actors who are now doing that, and you'll learn so much. Being on set and doing those small indie films and doing those short films is the best way to learn, because then when you do get onto bigger sets, you're not making the mistakes there. You've done all the learning. So I think it's actually very important.
So what do you think was the big production break that you got? Was it the CW's Legends of Tomorrow?
It was TNT
Legends, okay.
Legends of Tomorrow. Yeah, that was definitely my first experience on a huge set. Strangely and really luckily, I had done a self-tape with someone else who was on the show. And he was also in the episode, so it was really nice getting on set and having a friendly face, because because otherwise it would have been quite daunting. But it was amazing. That was shot in Prague, which is a beautiful city, and being a young actor and being able to fly out there and stay there was just such a cool experience.
So you went from Legends into something that actually much more established that anchored your career was with Sirens. Talk about how you managed to circle into a big project like Sirens. That was big for you.
Yeah, definitely. I guess right time, right place. The character, I think, was so right for me. And so yeah, I auditioned, and it's not often that you get so hooked on a role, but I binge watched all the first series, and then my particular role is she's a healer, and they wanted a very kind of calm persona, whereas the other mermaids are a bit much more aggressive. And I think I just really identified with the character, and yeah, it was a whirlwind from there, being on 2 seasons, filming for almost 3 years. Was really special, and all the team was so talented, a really amazing cast. It really felt like being on set with family most days. So when you get an experience like that, you realize how lucky you are in this industry to be able to gel with a great cast and crew. And also we had great stories to tell as well, and the fans are so loyal, which is always lovely when the fans have only love to say about the show. That's always something that's pleasing.
I kind of want to talk to you about the behind the scenes things to Sirens there, because one of the things that probably was a very good requirement is your ability to swim. And it looks like you are very good with your butterfly strokes. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think I could have done it if I had been a strong swimmer. Even if you know, I guess they asked you how good are you at swimming, and I have competitively swum in the past, so very comfortable underwater. But what we're required to do is you have a monofin, so that's got your feet together, and then you've got a skirt that goes down to your ankles, so your legs are very much strapped together, and then often you've also got weights around you, so you're not floating. So you have to be very strong. And there'll be fight scenes where you're carrying a spear as well and having to do fight sequences, which is definitely a challenge underwater. And you can't see, that's the other thing. We're in this huge tank, but you can't wear goggles because of the CGI. And it's full of chlorine, obviously. So you're just blind, essentially. They had speakers under the water so you could hear what the director was saying. You can't see it. So yeah, being comfortable and relaxed is definitely a necessity when doing those kind of scenes.
How does CGI work underwater? Do they just have a green background behind the tent, or do they don't put you in a costume or anything? Those little silly costumes with balls, do they?
They did for the pilot. So Aline, who plays Rin, she did for the pilot, and she said it was so dangerous because it's so heavy, and it was exhausting. It took so long, and then I think after the pilot they realised, oh, we should just CGI it. But there was no green screen. You're wearing a skin tight leotard and then the skirt to keep your legs together, and then just dots similar to any other CGI. But so then it's all filmed like that, and then you do the CGI scan of the body, and then the team who did an amazing job put it all together and make us look like mermaids.
So when you're inside that tank at a time, are you there for just for a few minutes, or they film you for hours?
Hours, yeah. So they would do all the tank days in day slots. So we'd spend 3 days every 2 or 3 weeks doing the tank days, and yeah, you could be even there all day. You would break, obviously, but yeah, it would be a full day thing, and the crew are in there all day. So the you know, the safety divers and film crew, they're all underwater the whole time. So definitely those are the challenging days, and you're against the clock, and it always takes longer because you're trying to herd blind mermaids together. So yeah, it was definitely challenging days, but you know, such an experience to be able to be trained in those specific areas.
It sounds so exhausting. What do you end up at the end of the day?
Absolutely exhausted, and your eyes hurt from the chlorine, so you've got red eyes that are a bit swollen. You burn through so much energy, even just like being in the tank. And then psychologically it's hard because you've got to concentrate on hearing what's happening. Sometimes you'd be weighted down at the bottom of the tank using just the scuba in between takes to breathe, and you're weighted too much to be able to swim up, so you're just having to put your hand out, trusting that someone's going to put the scuba in so then you can breathe. And then you give it away again when you do the take. So yeah, it was a lot of mental preparation as well, of being zen, not panicking, and a lot of trust. Got to trust the team.
So it must have been a relief when some of your scenes are on land as a person.
Yeah. You're like, okay. But then towards the end, I would look forward to those scenes because it was a special time, and the last time in the tank was quite emotional for everyone. But yeah, on land it is much easier. Acting, being able to breathe, as you say, lines or perform is definitely easier than doing it underwater.
Now, they didn't have you fitted for any costume for this because is the mermaid form just completely CGI, or did they actually have to do a little bit of makeup on you?
Completely CGI'd. So no mermaid makeup underwater. On land, we're in human form, so we're wearing normal clothes and normal hair, but we do wear blue contact lenses because the tribe I belong to, we all have blue eyes. So that was something else we had to contend with, is contact lenses each day. And then because they're coloured, you have to get used to just seeing through the little iris hole. So when I first started wearing them, you did also feel a little bit blurred in your vision as well. So definitely a lot to contend with.
Gosh, one of your biggest first projects, and you just faced a numerous amount of challenges. Why did you enjoy this so much? You could have done something much easier.
I know. Well, now it means anything else is easier, but I think everyone was just there's a real team spirit. Everyone was just so lovely, and I think that, you know, coming into a second season can be quite nerve-wracking when the team's already gelled, but they're all so welcoming. We did a lot of things on our days off. A lot of the team were all from around the world, from New Zealand, from England, from America. So when we're all together, there's that sense of family because everyone didn't have their normal friends around. So you definitely got to hang out and do like games nights or beach days. So yeah, it was a special time.
That is great, and I know fans could actually check it out right now. Here in the United States, it's on Hulu, and I think it's Disney Plus everywhere else.
Yeah. So yeah, it's all 3 seasons. You can go binge watch.
Yeah, it is a shame that they didn't renew it for Freeform, but
yeah, I know, and the fans were also disappointed. They're still doing petitions now, wanting us to renew again. So they all want it. I would love it because we all got on so well. But you know, these decisions happen and they can't keep every show going forever. So, but who knows? Who knows? Maybe in the future they'll be like, we need the Siren up again.
Well, that's true. I mean, let's talk about some of your theories after the 3rd season. What do you think happened to him?
Yeah, it's so hard to know. When I read that script, I was like, oh my goodness, how is this going to move forwards? And my favorite personal theory is that he has turned partly merman. I love that he's kind of still there existing. But I think the writers intended it that the idea of the human and the mermaid together in a relationship would never quite work out. So perhaps what he was trying to look for never existed. So he kind of couldn't continue. But I think it's left open for each individual to take what they wanted from it, because it was such a lovely story. So I think that's why it is quite open-ended. You can kind of put into it how you've read them ongoing. So I like the idea that he's continuing as a merman. And I guess, you know, that's what all the fans would want as well, that he's kind of, because that's where the story seemed to be leading. You know, he was developing all these, because he was injecting himself with the cells, he was able to stay underwater for much longer periods of time. So I like that idea.
I know the show was getting so good, introducing a Little Mermaid. You folks are learning to be both in sea and water, and then that conclusion.
I know.
That's such a shame.
I know. It needs another season. I'll put it out there.
Absolutely, and I do have to commend you. You were great as the healer. Sometimes I was wondering if you even know the concoctions that you're actually making up on that show.
Yeah, they were strange concoctions, definitely. They all tasted great though. The props team were amazing in ensuring that everything tasted good. But yeah, it was for that research. I researched a lot of medicine women throughout different cultures, looking at Reiki, and also, you know, so much of medicine is historically based on using herbs and plants. And I think we also like that idea of, well, there's so much undiscovered under the sea. There probably is all these magical healing plants that we're not able to get because we don't know hardly anything about deep water.
So you said you actually tasted it?
Yeah, because there's I'm not sure what, it wasn't actually in the script, but she said it tastes good in case you need to eat it. I think they did it was like a lot of food coloring. There was bits of like biscuits mixed up in there, so it was designed to not taste disgusting. But yeah, probably not why I sweet loads of it.
That is terrific to hear. Well, crossing our fingers, hopefully that they bring it back. And plus, it was like one of the strongest, watch shows on Freeform. So I don't see why not. Hopefully, expanding it into the other streaming services will.
Exactly. Yeah, widen the audience, and the more people that watch it, maybe they're like, well, the ratings are so high, maybe it deserves another go. But we'll see. That's just my personal desire because I loved filming it, but sadly I'm not the decision maker.
That's right. Well, Siren was at the end of your career because you actually jumped into a horror film for Syfy and Warner Brothers Home Entertainment called what? Toys of Terror?
Toys of Terror. Yeah, I did. And we managed to just get it filmed just as COVID happened. So felt very lucky that we managed to finish that off. So that's about a family and their nanny who go to this old house to renovate it. But what the mother of the family doesn't tell the other characters is it used to be a children's hospital where really tragically all the children died, which is the reason why it's so cheap. And my character plays a nanny. She's trying to discover what's happened and why all these strange things keep happening, and obviously desperately trying to save the children and not let it happen to them as well.
Now, this is your first time going into the horror genre itself. How was that experience?
I was nervous because I'm not great at watching horror films. I get quite scared. So I wasn't sure about, is it going to be scary on set? But luckily it wasn't, and the house is actually quite a modern house, but the set deck department did an amazing job to make it look old and dilapidated. There were moments where it did get tense, at the end of the day when there's a scene with a doll which has its like face melted, and the children on set found that really scary, and some of them started crying, so they had to then be released to go home. So it was quite haunting actually filming it, but it was a lot more stunts even than Siren that I had to do, which was an interesting challenge. And what's funny is at the beginning of the year, I'd done a vision board, my first time doing a vision board, and on it was stunt work. And now that I've done more stunt work, I'm like, oh, maybe I'll leave that to the professionals, because it's hard. Physically, it's really hard. And you have to be in situations that you don't necessarily feel equipped in. Well, you obviously are equipped and you're always safe. But yeah, there's a reason why stunt actors are so amazing, because they've spent years training.
Do you enjoy the physicality of the side of acting yourself? Because I understand you have a background in Taekwondo.
I do, yeah, a black belt, which yeah.
Means that no one should mess with you.
Exactly, or beware. Yeah, and that was very useful in Siren, because there were some fight scenes, especially trying to memorize the fight scenes, because a lot in doing your belts in Taekwondo, you need to memorize patterns. So that came really handy. And I do generally really like the physicality. The things that I find harder is when it's like heights, and in Toys of Terror I had to like climb scaffolding. I had to be like hauled up into the air by a harness. So it's all good experience, that like being pushed out of your comfort zone. But yeah, generally I love that kind of stuff. And in an ideal world, I'd love to do kind of a female warrior role where I got to use more of my martial arts background.
that is great. And let me mention your co-stars in Toys of Terror. Were the toys real or were they CGI?
They were real, but not. So they used stop motion for them. They had puppeteers. It was a great company who, I guess, painstakingly did all the stop motion. But when we were actually on set, they had puppeteers moving them for us. So that was interesting. Also doing these fight scenes with these toys when it's actually just a puppet, and you're a bit nervous because you don't want to break the puppet, but also you need to look convincing in your self-defense.
So how do you act with puppets? Because that's entirely a different world that a lot of actors can't do.
It is. And when I first did the first thing that I had to do, I was like, this is strange. There's not a lot to move off from. And then I guess you just decide, well, I've got to go full in, otherwise I'm going to look more stupid. So yeah, you just go for it more than you would go for it when there's someone in front of you, I guess. It's easier to pull back than to make it more emphasized, especially with the tone of the film. You have to really elevate those moments. And so yeah, it's about believing that thing is there. A lot of acting is, putting yourself in situations that aren't real. So I guess it's just emphasizing that even more.
Well, thank goodness you didn't break anything, so that's a good sign.
Exactly. I was very nervous because these puppets were very precious. So and they only had like one extra one of each puppet. So if I broke too many, I wouldn't be very favorable.
So for you, Georgia, I know you are just starting your career, but is there like a sort of like a wish list or a bucket list of roles that you would love to play?
I guess, as I touched on before, like a female warrior would be really fun. And then I love period dramas, so it would be great to be able to be in a period drama at some point. And then things that are coming up, at the moment are really exciting for female roles. you know, The Queen's Gambit, that was a beautiful TV show. Again, amazing costumes. I think I'm drawn to a lot of the visual aspects of period dramas when it all looks beautiful. So things like that have strong, interesting female characters, I'd love to be involved with. So yeah, it feels like there's a lot of exciting opportunities coming up in those areas. So yeah, those are my long-term goals.
Those are terrific goals. And just out of curiosity, where are you based on? Are you still based in England, or because it seems like you're willing to travel anywhere around the world, which a lot of the actors would love to be in your shoes.
Yeah, definitely. And that's been one of the best things about the industry, is that you do get to travel to amazing places. I'm currently still based in Vancouver. My partner loves snowboarding, so when I suggested the move over here, he jumped at it. So yeah, we've been enjoying living in Vancouver currently, because, well, you've got the mountains and you've got the sea, and also the film industry is doing really well in Vancouver. So it's a great place to be able to, well, for Siren to be able to like live and to be able to work in such close proximity is great, because even though you're working hard, on your time off you still got access to, you know, the mountains and the sea. So yeah, I'm loving living in Vancouver at the moment.
I know I kind of did a little bit of creeping into your Instagram, and it looked like you had a celebration with him. So congratulations.
Yeah, we got engaged in the last fall, which is a lovely thing to happen.
That is terrific. Yeah, congratulations. You two look so happy in your photos.
We were. It was great. It was just off one of the islands from Vancouver, and yeah, in such a dreadful year, it was nice to have something that was, you know, very joyous. So yeah, good timing from him.
That is true. Well, Georgia, let me wrap it up with one more question. Obviously, you know, the world has gone crazy and bonkers in its own way. And for the past year, a lot of productions have been, you know, slowed down or shut down in its own way. So how are you staying sane and creative? Because obviously you did have one bright good news during the past year.
Yeah, so I guess a big thing is you've got to, I guess, consume as much creativity as you're giving out. So going back and watching a lot of the classics of the films, reading a lot, and I've also started writing my own projects. So last year I managed to write a feature film and a pilot, both for historical dramas. So that definitely gave me something else to focus on that wasn't, you know, oh gosh, what's happening to our industry. It was something that I was like, well, I can control this. So that really helped. And yeah, I'm excited to push those further this year and see what I can develop with them. So yeah, I've been lucky that it opened a door to writing, which I've always wanted to do that, but haven't had the time. So it was great being forced of like, well, okay, now is the time to do that. So I think there's a few things to be grateful for from the previous year. And sometimes we have to hold on to those things.
That is excellent. Well, you certainly will have a bright future. Georgia, hey, thank you for speaking with us. This is a lovely conversation, and I really hopefully get to talk to you about your future projects again.
Yeah, it's been lovely. Thank you for taking the time, and yeah, it'll be great to chat again in the future.